Hey guys, welcome back to Taste of Victory, and today is a really interesting news update day. So Bandai has straight up altered the very core rulings of the game to further clarify on resolution. So this is the first time they've done something to this scale. They have previously gone back on rulings, but this time they have straight up altered how resolution in the game is supposed to take place and what you take of it. So this currently is, as of this video uploading, Japanese only, but it will be expected to come over to us in English soon because we couldn't just have an entirely different rule set than them. So it's just a matter of time. Might as well start learning it now. So let's go ahead and get into this. Because this is Japanese only as of now, gracious members of the Digimon TCG Discord server, Decidueye and Tessero, who are regular users in the server, play tournaments all the time, have graciously spent their time translating these new rule updates. And then Woodish, who is also able to translate here, Wadish, has also taken his time to translate and highlight the biggest summaries for us. So many thanks to these users in the Digimon TCG 2020 Discord server. So let's go ahead and get into the big change here. So some context first. Previously in this game, the way effect resolution works was when attacking effects or, however else you activate effects. As long as multiple effects were activated at the same time, then you would choose the order of resolution if they all activated at the same time. For example, if you had Digivolution sources with a bunch of when attacking effects, you would choose. And then anything that would be triggered by those effects would then start a new queue. So example, if you're using, the example used here actually, Tessero and Decidueye have made us some very nice graphs and graphics to go along with explaining this. But basically, like, say you use War Greymon's effect to destroy Tapirmon, what would happen is that this would start a new stack and you finish all the when attacking effects here before this even starts, because this is a new queue. So all your when attacking effects that activated and were triggered at the same time will resolve in your order, and then your opponent can activate their when destroyed effect. That is how it previously worked. So like imagine you're going into a line and now you triggered this new effect. So that person has to go into a new line, and maybe it'll start getting that other line will start getting longer as more effects are triggered. But this line the line on the left needs to be finished before the other customers in the new line can be served. Is the best analogy to give for that. So let's go ahead and give that, knowing that context, let's see what Wadish has to say here. The big news is the nested and Digimon tamers have to be present to resolve their effects. So this is huge because previously, if we look at this card, Omnimon Swart, that's not what I wanted to do. Digimon card.dev. Let's look at Swart. A new card in Booster Set 5 that we'll be getting here eventually. We'll go to proxies because it's not out in English yet, but here we have Omnimon Swart. When Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. Then you would play up to 2 black or purple Digimon cards that have a play cost of 8 or less from your trash without paying their memory cost. So since this card can Digivolve from purple, you can run this in a purple deck, and a common strategy to use with this card was to play 2 Chimeramons and use each other for their effects to pay for their one destruction effects. So the reason that this worked was previously the game was just checking that you had resolved the effect, that you had triggered it and successfully paid for its cost. So even though one of the Chimeramon was gone, the cost and the trigger was met, and therefore even though that source is now gone for the cost, it was still met at one point. So 2 Chimeramons could trigger each other and destroy 2 of your opponent's Digimon, even though you destroyed one of them to activate the other. It was a really weird ruling, and I personally was pretty annoyed by it. Not for any particular reason, just that like it's not intuitive. But with this new ruling, it states that those Digimon have to be present for it to finish resolving. So with this, you would no longer be able to do double Chimeramon. So this completely alters a common strategy for Omnimon Swart. And then, so if we keep going, when a player chooses to resolve an effect, you also resolve any new effects activated by that effect before continuing on with anything else. So how I said previously it started a new stack, instead the new effects that you had triggered in resolution start right away. So if you're when attacking plays a Digimon with an on play, you resolve that on play before moving on to the next one attacking. If your when attacking deletes an opponent's Digimon with an on deletion, that on deletion gets resolved. If that on deletion removes the attacking Digimon, the example they use is Bancho Lilymon, the Digimon that was attacking does not get to resolve any further when attacking effects. So in this example that the Decidueye and Tessero have actually translated for us, here is how it goes. So here's the exact example they have here. One of Omnimon Swart's effects is, when attacking, you may return a level 6 Digimon card from this Digimon's evolution sources to hand to destroy one of your opponent's 12 cost or below Digimon that is inactive. So keeping that in mind, Bancho Lilymon's effect is, when destroyed, put one of your opponent's Digimon that is in rest to the bottom of their deck. That Digimon's Evo sources are discarded. And then in this example, we have a black Garurumon with the when attacking inheritable, draw 1, then discard 1 card from your hand. So what you could do is you can attack, triggering its effect. Let's say you attack security, trigger its effect, use the effect to return a level 6 and destroy the Bancho Lilymon, and then you could, when attacking, to get the draw off of Garurumon. So here we have a before and after. So previously, an example of order resolution was attack declaration, the when attacking effect A of Omnimon Swart, when destroyed effect C of Bancho Lilymon now goes off. And now, because of that, Omnimon is sent to the bottom of the deck. But because the when attacking evolution source was already triggered, you would be able to draw 1 and discard 1 from Garurumon despite its effect. Because previously, you attack and you destroyed it. Okay, she is gone, so her effect does now trigger, but it is moved to a new queue, so we have to finish resolving all these effects first. So, Omnimon Swart effect, destroy this Digimon. Bancho Lilymon is gone. Her effect is now in a separate queue, waiting for all the other effects to resolve. So you do your when attacking, and you draw 1, and you discard 1 off Garurumon. But now that doesn't work. So here we have when attacking effect A, when attacking effect, when destroyed effect C now immediately activates with the new rulings, and then evolution source when attacking effect B. Although the effect is not yet activated, the Digimon that can activate this effect is no longer around, so the effect cannot be activated. So instead, you would now have to choose when attacking effect B to trigger that first off the inheritable, and then trigger Omnimon Swart's effect, since you choose the order you want to trigger all the when attacking effects that activate it at the same time anyways, and then Lilymon's effect will go off. So yeah, this is huge. Before, you could, I would say, like, you could kind of like make some rash decisions and you wouldn't be punished for it just yet, because like either way, Omnimon, if you, whatever reason, activated this effect in this scenario, either way, Omnimon is going to go away. But you do get the full win inheritable effects. But now, because of the new rules, you have to be a lot more careful about how you choose when you activate all the when attacking effects that go off at the same time. Because now Bancho Lilymon could mess it up and interfere with that stack that you had going of when attacking effects. Let's keep reading here. And then here we go. The invisible blocker is now gone, as blocker and other reactions do not trigger until after the when attacking effects. If the card with blocker is gone by that point, it doesn't even trigger. So previously there was a really confusing ruling where if you de-digivolved a blocker somehow and you know when attacking de-digivolve, since the keyword blocker was there and saw the activation of when attacking, even though that Digimon was discarded, you could still block with the Digimon underneath it that had no blocker ability. And that ruling was just dumb. Like, I understand why, I totally get it, but it's just dumb and unintuitive. But now with these new rules, that is gone. Now you do have, your opponent does have to fully wait for you to finish all when attacking effect triggers, and then you can block. So in this scenario, the blocker would be gone and no longer be able to block. So to me, this just really feels like they're smoothing out the interaction rulings and making them actually make sense now. So I actually like these rulings, because now it is no longer waiting to go into another queue, these new effects that are triggered. Instead, they are activating right away. So now this has moved to a last in, first out resolution order. So this is not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Chaining, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Chaining implies the response to your opponent's effect. You are not responding to anything or negating it. You are just triggering these effects because you met the conditions somehow. They are not necessarily into response to your effect. They are just now moved to the front of the line instead of waiting for your effects to finish resolving. So this is a pretty big change, all things considered, because you have to think a lot more carefully now about how you want to activate your the order of all your when attacking effects in the stack of your Digimon. A lot of new interactions that couldn't work before can now suddenly interact. For example, previously, let's say we have Lucemon here. Let's say we have Lucemon. Its effect is, while you have 10 or more cards in your trash, when playing this card from your hand, you may reduce its play cost by 8. On play, recovery +1 to the deck. So that's the effect, right? And then War Greymon's effect is, once per turn, you may discard one of your security from the top when attacking, once per turn, you may discard one of your security from the top to put this Digimon to active, and one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 TP for the turn. So let's say you have a booster set 3 Angelwoman underneath that War Greymon. So her effect is, when attacking, no, that's her effect. And her inheritable effect is, when attacking, if your security is 3 or less, play one level 3 or less yellow Digimon from your hand without paying the cost. So previously, a strategy people wanted to work but didn't was, if you had 0 security, you cannot swing with War Greymon. So previously, what people would try to do was you would use the when attacking effect of a War Greymon over Angelwoman. These trigger at the same time, so you choose the effect. You would play Angelwoman first. You would choose that effect to go off to play the Lucemon, what we just saw, from your hand. So, but the problem, and then the idea there is that you would use its effect, recover +1, and then you would now have a security to discard, and then you would be able to restand this War Greymon. But the problem is it doesn't work that way, because Lucemon previously would have gone into a new queue, and you would have had to finish the when attacking effects triggered already to then activate Lucemon's effect. So because at the time of that when attacking, there is no security in your you have no security period, then no, the when attacking effect of War Greymon cannot fully resolve. You cannot restand because of that, because then afterwards Lucemon would trigger. So that was a fun combo in theory that unfortunately did not work. But now if you are at 0 security and activate Angelwoman's effect to play Lucemon for free, it triggers immediately because it was a new effect that was introduced. Sorry for talking so fast. And then you recover +1, and then War Greymon's effect can go off and finish fully and now restand. So that's a huge buff to yellow. There's a lot of buffs to yellow now, actually, because now you could play a Starmon with Lord Nightmon, and it'll immediately destroy the blocker. So previously, like I said, the blocker would be able to block for whatever reason, and then the attack would fizzle. But you would still, get the attack away from your security. Now that is no longer a point. So yellow's buffed a lot by these new interaction rules. But basically, the very easy summary of this is, yes, Digimon has pretty much moved to a last in, first out. So when an effect is immediately triggered, a new one, it'll just resolve right away at the top of this stack instead of waiting for all the other when attacking effects to resolve. So that's pretty cool because, you could miss timing or something, or not miss timing rather, but just forget sometimes with how many when attacking effects can trigger at the same time sometimes. So this is definitely just smoothing out the rules, clarifying some things, and making things more intuitive, I feel, comparing it to every other card game on the market. So yeah, a little confusing. I hope I did the best to break this down for you guys with examples, translations that I will link here in the description of this video, and going back and reading people's summaries and stuff. So I hope that was clear. If not, do go ahead and ask in the comments. If I'm not able to, someone else will be able to answer. And then that will be it for this video. It doesn't look like there's much else that was radically changed. This is the biggest takeaway. You can read the rest down here. Actually, this about reaction might be interesting. When your opponent's Digimon, so this might be interesting. Yeah, about reaction. When your opponent's Digimon attacks, effects trigger what is called a reaction timing. A reaction is the timing for when an opponent's Digimon attacks after the resolution of all their when attacking and when your Digimon attacks effects. If an attacking Digimon doesn't have a when attacking effect at the declaration of attack, it is not triggered. However, even if a Digimon doesn't have a when an opponent's Digimon attacks at attack declaration, if it gains an effect before the reaction timing, it can activate the reaction effect. So yeah, this goes back into the new trigger timing and the new ordering. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff here. This is huge implications for the game because now you gotta kind of relearn the way effects resolve. So let me know how you guys feel about such a huge change being made 6 sets into the game. I personally don't think this is that big of a change. It's just shocking because it's a change to the fundamental, resolution of the game. But personally, I think it's just smoothing out things and making things work how they always should have, in my opinion, because I get how some of these interactions work, but it just wasn't intuitive. I was like, that's dumb. But either way, let me know what you guys think of this. And let me know if you guys have any further questions. And I hope, again, that I was able to explain everything accurately. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.